Is it happening? Well, I don't know now.
You don't know if it's happening?
Yeah, it doesn't look like
I'm
it.
gonna go on there and see.
It doesn't look like it. Oh, wait, no.
You always do this at the beginning.
It's
you have
true.
To just be patient, please, Sean, because that kind of fucks up the beginning of the stream.
All right, you're doing that right now. We just went, we're live.
Oh, okay.
Don't lecture me on
They
stream.
I'll lecture you when the hell I
At the very beginning of the stream, Loren's like, you're messing up the beginning of the stream. I'm like, but yeah.
Look, Hornsby looks great, though.
It does look good. Wow. This looks good. The background and everything. Anyway, welcome. This is playtest. Actually, this is playtest 12 now. We're gonna switch this up. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do with this. So So for today, the point of my stream is, I guess I'm kind of wondering. As a solo game, I'm looking at these. Well, there's a couple different things. Actually, there's a lot of things in my mind right now. Like one of them is that most of these monster movies aren't very good. Like they're not real good examples of how to like set up story and structure and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like, do I actually want people to feel like they're in a monster movie? That's been one of my questions I have right now. Do I actually, want that feeling? Because like they're not very good. But in a way, the people who like them, and it's funny because I've been watching monster movies my entire life, and I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, yeah, for the most part, they're not very good, but I keep watching them. Like even when I was a kid, they weren't very good. They were like really boring, kind of, right? Except when the monster was fighting. That's what I remember about monster movies. But I would watch them, or kaiju movies, or whatever you want to call them now. But like, what was good about them was the monster fighting. So usually, but then the other thing is, the monster movies are actually usually about the people that are dealing with the monster, right? So, I mean, couldn't that be interesting? I mean, that's what everybody cares about. And so that sort of goes into my second issue with what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to figure out a solution to it, which is that I think the really interesting part of, any movie and any writing is the dialogue and conversation. What was that quote by like Stephen King? He was saying something like, you find out characters through conversation, right? And it's kind of what you care about in a movie in a lot of ways. I mean, I know action scenes are cool, and I think the big draw of a monster movie is the monster destroying stuff. So it's going to be difficult to get that across, kind of, in a solo RPG, actually. I'm almost wondering, in a sense, I'm almost going to have to rethink the whole thing once again. I mean, I can still use some of these. It's almost like the other game we're doing with, Ryan, which is, Space Monster Labyrinth. And we had to we had this basically complete game. Ryan took it out playtesting, and it was just totally broken. We found out once it actually was out in the real world that it didn't work. But we saw what was wrong with it. We were able to take all the pieces we'd already made, sort of reassemble them into a really good game. And we're going to take that out playtesting soon too, so that's probably going to get broken. Just like this game, when I actually get it out there playtesting, it's going to be broken and I'll have to reevaluate. But it's not really ready for playtesting for me until, I'm just having fun with the game. I won't realize what's wrong with it till I, take it out, but it still has to be like fun and work for me personally. Since it's a solo game, I figure, that's the first step. If I have fun playing it, then I can actually like take it out and be like, okay, give this a try and see what you think. So anyway, I guess what I'm struggling with right now is this. Here's the playtest from yesterday, and basically this is what it looks like. I like the way it works. Here's a setup. I listed my 3 roles, the people in the roles, the protagonist, the sidekick, and the love interest. I took them from the new table here, down here, which is I'm trying to get a table of, default characters that you can use, and put them in whatever roles you want. So this time I took Bobby. He's a field biologist. I took him, Chuck, and who did I take? Jenna. Yeah. I figured this was a good setup. He's a field biologist. Chuck is a janitor. And Jenna's a wildlife photographer. I figured there'd be something going on there, They're on the default setting, which is the Tropical Island Secret Research Base, And the monster here is Tentacleve. Here, I'll write the name. A giant squid with knife tentacles. So, that was the setup.
Cool.
Right? Tentacleve's in this one, right?
Okay, I will say though,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Do what you're gonna do. But you have Hornsby up.
Right. This is just the one from yesterday. I'm just going, for the thumbnails, I'm kind of cycling through
Oh, okay.
all of the art, really.
I don't think it's a big deal.
No, I hear what you're saying. No, you're right. You're right. It is a little misrepresented.
That's why I was like,
The day
what?
I had Pixodon, I did have Pixodon up on the thumbnail. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, so here's what it looks like. I've definitely added a lot more structure to the game. So this is Act 1. There's 3 acts. There's 3 scenes per act. And this is Scene 1. Which, here's what I've done as a basic outline down here. Let's see. Of how I want the game to go. The game summary is going to look a little bit like this. Act 1 is the setup. So this is... So Act 1... So I should say Scene 1 here. Actually, I should say that. Scene 1 is setup. Scene 2. Introduce love interest and obstacle to love. Right? Scene 3 would be a monster attack. That's what I'm trying to set up so far. Then Act 2. Scene 1. So am I going to call that Scene 4, Act 2, Scene 1? I guess I'll do Act 2, Scene 1. That'll be the reaction to the attack. Scene 2. Find a plan for the response. And then... Scene 3, the monster response fails. It's just got to fail. Somehow that's the scene in the plot. All right, and then Act 3 will be the low point. After there, things fail, everything's gone to hell, right? Oops, can't spell. That's fine. Scene 2. Then suddenly, somehow the protagonist becomes inspired by something that happened. I'm gonna have to maybe even reference something back. You kind of want that to be something that's relevant to the plot. And Scene 3, the monster. Either the monster attacks again, or they go to the monster. They deal with the monster somehow. It's the scene where where you roll all the dice, basically. And then we'll have an epilogue. So this is the basic game structure, is what we're going to try for right now. But before I do that, I kind of want to think a little bit about... I'll do Scene 2 today, maybe, and see how that works out. I like how it worked. It was easy to, create the scene. But it really does look just like sort of a, screenplay from above. And it works in that way, but I don't feel like it has that filled in life to it. There's no conversations. I know this is a solo game. Still, the interesting thing are conversations, but what are you going to do? Have a conversation with yourself? Trying to make this solo is funny. I could see where... if there's more people playing, it's easier to have all right, role play a conversation here or whatever. And maybe you can have a conversation with yourself or whatever, or write some dialogue or something optionally. I'm just going to write that up here in the notes because I'm not actually sure what to do about that yet. Roll Polly. Write a roleplay dialogue somewhere in scene. I guess we'll put a question mark there. It's just sort of an idea, maybe. Because I feel like that's really what's missing.
What about a journaling thing though?
Because this is kind of a journal. I mean, obviously, with the fact that you're doing solo role playing, there's a couple different options. It seems to me from what I've seen, and I mean, obviously, there's probably some revolutionary ideas out there too, which is cool. But it seems like, it falls under a couple different categories where it's you do a lot of writing. It's sort of like a writing prompts and stuff, right? like 1,000-Year-Old Vampire, which sort of transcends that a little bit because of the mechanics of the game. That one actually is really good. Or it's like, you know, the solo game. What was the other game? You know, like, what am I thinking of? Like Iron Sworn or whatever, which was way more mechanical, you know, to keep you, you know, like not necessarily knowing what's going to happen. You still have to sort of GM yourself a little bit, but there's a lot of mechanics that, you know, deal with fights and stuff like that. So in this one, you know, I wanted it, you obviously have to make up a lot of things for this particular game, but I also wanted there to be a game here. So another thing I want to write as a note is actually test the just game by itself. And the game by itself is a dice game. You know, because if the game isn't fun by itself, then I'm not sure. Well, it's not necessarily true that it won't be fun without the role-playing. If I can somehow integrate the role-playing into the dice game.
It would be better if it was like built
Like itself, yeah.
built into it.
Instead of just sort of having a skin on it.
Right.
You know, just being here's a dice game that I'm going to throw this skin on, you know.
Right.
Isn't necessarily what I want to do.
That doesn't feel good to me.
Yeah. But I still want to test the game, like take it away from the skin, so to speak, and like I'm just pulling the skeleton out, I guess.
Can stand on its
Yeah, see if it actually is good, though. I don't necessarily want to... Yeah. Anyway. Test, I guess I should say the dice game by itself. Because in the end, if you know, for a solo role-playing game, it is still a game. You know, otherwise you're just sitting there making stuff up. And that's fine, right? But that's not really playing a role-playing game, right? And I think that's why people even want to play the role-playing game. Like, if they just want to sit there and imagine stuff, I mean, that's cool. But they kind of... I feel like, for me especially, playing a solo game is like I want to be taken somewhere, you know, that I don't necessarily know where I'm going.
Right.
I want it to be an adventure, so...
That exploration.
Yeah, so there is like an exploration aspect to it, right? You know, because initially... But then, obviously, as I've been playing this and trying to balance it, there's a fine line in, like... how much stuff you ask of the player, you know? Like, I would say something like Iron Sworn asks a lot. You have to learn all the rules kind of first. Not necessarily a ton of them, but, like, you do have to learn a lot. Or even if you wanted to play, like, D&D by yourself, you would have to learn all kinds of stuff before you could really sit down and start playing. And this one I'm trying to have it where you can just sit down and play. So that, you know, is in itself a constraint. Wow, it's crazy out there, man. We had some crazy thunder. Yeah, if we just, like, disappear, it's probably some lightning strike or something. You know, don't worry about it. It's fine. All right, goal of this document. All right. All right, so we set up. We did the scene one. All right, what am I thinking about? I keep getting off on tangents here. So they react. So the reaction is what they decide to do. I'm almost thinking of react and then even having a decision. Actually, I think I'm going to add that in there. Formulate the next goal. See, I don't necessarily want that to be react. That should be decision at the end. And then before that, there should be like a reaction. Maybe that's where we get some of the characterization or whatever. Oops. True events. I can add more to that. That's just a bare bones there. So this would be more the decision. So that's the decision aspect. So a reaction would be more like, what's going on here? Yes, I'm really good at word processing, by the way. You need an office worker, boy. Right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
You were working off.
I can like do some fact stuff. Actually, what I'm really good at it, and like, you know, an office environment or any kind of environment like that, I think I'm good at like pretending like I'm working. I'm really good at acting like I'm working.
How good are you with that?
I'm like,
Really?
I'll like have my,
All the time I notice
But
that
girl.
you just sit around and don't do anything.
you know, I'll just nod once in a while, sort of be like, yeah, maybe like move the mouse around. I'll like move the mouse around a bit. Oh,
Interesting.
Wow, look at this. Yeah. So yeah, no, I mean role playing can come in handy in every facet of your life, honestly, right?
Right, exactly.
And then you find that you don't actually have to do anything; you just have to role play stuff. It works in the real
I
world
wish I'd
too.
have learned that a long
I
time
know
ago.
it would have been nice to learn that earlier. You kind of have to look the part, you know. You have to play the part correctly, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not as easy as you think, but I don't think you actually have to have the knowledge. All right, so the dilemma is what? Whether they should report this or not. Or wait a minute. So they found the ink balls. Oh, this is React, not Dilemma, sorry. This is supposed to be React. So we're going to say Bobby is disturbed, yet excited, you know,
Yeah.
about the possibility.
Maybe aroused.
Yeah, he's aroused.
Sorry. Wait,
Except
that's the other thing. That's
aroused about the possibility of finding a new life form,
Uh-huh. My bird.
form and becoming famous. Finally getting... Oh, wait, he hasn't met her yet. He hasn't met the girl yet, so I'm gonna leave that into there. He hasn't met his love interest. When you do, they'll be like, look at each other. You know, I mean, not sure. You're supposed to have, like, the love interest, like, maybe not even like each other or whatever.
No. I think they have to like each other.
So introduce the love interest. They're going to the lab.
I mean, they might be at odds. They might be, like... That's the thing. They might disagree. They might argue.
Right.
You know, but they like each other. They can't.
There's
help
chemistry at least,
Yeah,
even if they're not like friendly or whatever.
Yeah.
Even if they don't get along.
it. Exactly. Or even if they can't really say anything or express it or whatever, they just are. You know, they're drawn to each other.
All right, so I have this whole scene, and so like I said, it created a scene, and that's cool. And I'll create this scene too. Now that I've added this, we'll create scene 2 today and see how that feels. I still want to like maybe figure out a way to make it feel a little more, you know, real or something, fleshed out. All right, setting the scenes. Who will be in the scene? The names of the characters. So they came from the beach. So it's Bobby, Chuck, and Jenna. I try to get Jenna to go try to find the new organism. So they're trying to get her for photographer. So they know her apparently. Jenna, and that's so he's already met her. So that would be Bobby's crush, right? Involved to go find the new organism because he hasn't had an excuse to talk to her yet. How about that? Although maybe, you know, something like that, really you should be meeting the person in the movie. So, I don't know. Maybe that's bad. See, I still don't know some of these things about, like, how I should structure some of this stuff. Bobby, Chuck, and Jenna. Let's say she's outside the beat. All right, this is who's in the thing now. Where are the characters? We're going to say outside. I immediately pictured where they were, though. Outside the base by her Jeep as she is loaded. All right, outside the base by her Jeep. And then the next part would be, I don't need to start saying more, what are the characters doing? Jenna is loading equipment into the Jeep to go on a photo safari or whatever.
Yeah. Photo safari.
Safari. Bobby and Chuck rush up to her. To her, excited. Okay, that's what's happening. Where is the monster and what is it doing? So we'll say the monster's risen to the surface, okay? And is floating offshore. All right, offshore, looking like a new island.
Oh.
All right. That's what the monsters do. I like saying what the monster's doing. I think that's adding a good
That's
aspect
actually
to it,
good.
right?
That's great. I'm glad you added that.
Yeah, right.
Same with the
So you
monsters.
see, now the goal. All right, what's the goal of their scene here? What do they have to do? So what they have to do, goal, Bobby has to convince Jenna to abandon her trip and come with them to try and photograph a new life form. Okay, that's their goal. Also, yeah, I guess I would say, can he have two goals? Also, Bobby wants Jenna to like notice him or whatever.
Yeah, you can have two goals.
All right, or whatever. That's the goal. All right, so that was goal. Now plan. How are the characters going to do that? So the plan is, let's see, who's Bobby? See, I don't have a here's the problem so far, too. I noticed they have a sense of their character. Let's go back to what they were. He's a field biologist. Chuck's a sidekick. I'm guessing that, like, Bobby's not very good with women, and maybe Chuck is. So maybe...
Those still aren't, like, personality types or anything.
Right.
You know, I kind of want to go back to the idea of the whole character creation.
Right. Making
that
it deeper.
Works, yes.
I'm going to write this as a note here, you know, creating deeper characters somehow.
I think it'll help us, too. But I feel like at this point that we keep getting hung up on that.
Yeah, that the characters aren't real enough. I do
Really
keep coming
funny.
back to that over and over again. I agree. That seems to be a thing. It's almost like it's not that, it's just that everything's so top down. It is like I'm writing a script or whatever, and that's cool, but it feels like, how do we flesh that out? And maybe, you know, the adventures are that I give people a whole script and you flesh it out. That's what the players do. I'm not even sure at this point, but I feel like maybe there's more to this even. All right, anyway, so his plan is it a stupid plan? Maybe. Let's just say no, to try and convince Jenna to come with them by showing her the cut up starfish. Which I think is a good movie plan. Right? Like that could easily go wrong or be miscommunicated.
Right,
So there
yeah.
you go. So that's the plan. Okay. So here's the more of the fun part here. The obstacle. What's going to stop? Obstacle. Jenna barely knows them. And they are holding gross stuff. Of course, she is a wildlife
She's
photographer.
yeah.
Yeah, but still, she's like, yeah, she's not gross. Let's say she's not grossed out.
Maybe
But
she's
she is-
concerned that they hurt the animal.
Yeah, concerned they hurt the wildlife. Right?
Yeah.
And yells at them. Right, that's the obstacle. She yells at them. So now we go and look at this. Success. So what would success look like? I'm guessing that success in this situation goes like Bobby calms her down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Down and explains coherently what they need, what the situation with the new life form, and convince her to drive to the beach with them. Okay, to see if they can find it. That would be success. And so now I have to say, okay, right, what would be the reward for that? I'm guessing that would be hero dice, like he would gain, you know, help. So this is still the first act, so it's 1 hero dice. You know. So what does Bobby have right now? Oh, I left over from yesterday. Oh, he did. He succeeded last time too. So he has 6 hero dice. The monster has 5 monster dice. Oh, there's no 3. Sorry. All right, now we're looking at what failure would look like here in this situation. What's the first thing that comes to mind here? Well,
I mean, she's still gonna have to go look at the monster, but like,
right? Yeah,
she
exactly.
thinks he's an ass, and she decides to take her own car rather than driving with them.
Yeah, she is disgusted by them. She thinks they're an asses. Yeah, they are idiots. She thinks they're idiots and tells them she would go to the beach by herself. The beach in her own car and check it out. And by the way, leave her alone. Right?
Because we still have to have her, or do we? Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, she's the love interest. So he would lose 1 hero dice. So he doesn't have the cooperation. So there we go. Those are the success and failure, the consequences of those actions. Let's see. Peril. Nobody's facing peril in this scene. This is all just like social peril, basically. All right, resolve. For acts 1 to 8, the player rolls 1 dice to decide the path. So here we go. On a 1 to 3, Bobby calms Jenna down and gets her cooperation to go check out the evidence down by the beach. Failure. She thinks they're idiots. They probably are holding the slime thing, and she's never really understands what the hell happened. Get out of her face. Leave her alone. Lose a hero dice. 1 success.
Yay!
So they convince her. So, resolve. Success. So what do I write the result here? Success. 1 hero die. All right, that was the resolve. There's nothing else that needs to be in that particular phase. So we'll give him a hero dice here. Crushing it. All right, and then reaction. All right, so after an initial misunderstanding, Jenna realizes they might be on to something and like grabs Bobby's arm as they go, right? Yeah, all right. So that, things are like working out a little bit in that particular way. So that was resolved. That was reaction. So that was how the characters react to the events. All right, that's reaction. Now what? Now the last thing is decision. Whoops, I can't spell, but that's okay. Let's not worry about that. I'll just correct it here. I don't spell anymore. I used to be a really good speller. That's kind of crazy. All right, decision. He grabs Bobby's arm as they go. So, okay, they drive down to the beach to see to further investigate, basically, right? Investigate and see if they can get a glimpse of the new life form, which they don't realize is tentacleave. So that was decision. There we go. That was scene 2. So I will say about the different scenes and the way the game is playing right now, it is just kind of like flowing along. That wasn't hard. I didn't have any issues today like I did the other day with like trying to think stuff up or anything. It all kind of went. It's kind of interesting because I knew that this scene was introduce love interest and obstacle to love. Oh, I was supposed to introduce an obstacle to love. Well, maybe I'll take that out for now. Maybe that should go somewhere else. I mean, maybe they do get along well and then you introduce the obstacle later. I might have each scene do more than one thing also. But where do I put all these things that I think should happen during the scene? I don't know. So, scene 3, monster attack. Or, maybe I should make that monster attack or monster sighting. Because right here, I feel like they could see the island, right? And see the monster but not realize it. or maybe he rises up as, you know, who knows. All right, so I guess I'll leave that as monster attack for now. See how that goes, because that's where we could add peril, you know, like there must be, like, during the monster attack scenes, there has to be like a peril based thing, I guess. Introduce love interest. Okay. There wasn't a lot of, like, so once again, I mean, I feel like that went smoothly, but there wasn't a lot of, like, life to it necessarily. How'd you feel about it, Loren?
Yeah, I didn't really get any sense of the people or if I cared about Bobby getting the girl or anything at all.
Yeah, if you don't care about the character, it's not going to mean anything. So it's almost like, all right, okay, I'm going to write that up here.
And why?
This is fine.
See, I think that we might need to do some research.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have to do research about characters.
Yeah.
Because
How do we
caring
get a character that we
about
give
the
a shit
character.
about at all.
And, you know, part of that might be that instead of using these defaults, you know, part of the initial idea of the game also is that you can bring in anybody you want, right?
I know, but part of the initial idea of the game also is that you can create your own character as well.
Yeah, it's true.
And if people are going to create their own character, they need to know how. We need to be telling them what pieces to create.
Yeah, right.
So we need to understand that. I don't think we do.
No, it doesn't look like it. Yeah, okay, so these last two things I've written have been about the characters. I guess I'm noticing that, and I've said it even twice, which is that... And then the other one was write a roleplay dialogue somewhere in the scene. You know, they're all character related, so I feel like right now, the biggest problem with this game, and I'm not sure how to solve it in its present form, I'll, you know, keep trying to figure it out, is that the characters, if you don't care about the characters, I don't think you're going to care anything about the game, the monster. I could approach it from another angle too, which is that, you know, you approach it from like sort of a monster creation angle. Like maybe this is a whole big monster creation thing, and then you put your monster into the world or something. But I like the idea of trying to make the humans real. I think this is going to be important. I think beyond this game, even like for writing books and for making other games, it'll be important to like figure out how to make good characters. Because I think, especially for a solo RPG, it's not going to work otherwise, honestly. So this was 2 successes then in a row again. Success, 1 hero dice, yep. I like that it's all here and I can just look back over the game though.
Right.
Okay. Anyway. Oh, it's got low voice man.
Is that a problem?
No, it's fine. Setting the scene. All right, I'll just do another scene for now and just keep going. But yeah, I'm kind of... Obviously, something has to change. So this will be the first act here. This is the end of the first act. Scene 3. We're going to call it Monster Attack. So let's go up to the setting here. Setting the scene. Let's ask these questions.
Why do we care? It's like we have to know the character before this whole situation.
Yeah, before anything even starts. Like, I'd say, honestly, the opening scene should be some sort of, like, getting to know the characters scene. I'm not sure, like, how to make that happen, but, yeah. For now, I mean, the game is working as far as, like, at least mechanically.
Right.
As far as moving
functional.
along, you know, I'm able to easily create stuff, it feels like.
It seems like there was one spot you did get a little bit, maybe kind of stuck.
Oh, this today?
Yeah.
Where was it?
Is this new? Can I eat this now?
If you want to.
Is it good?
Yeah, it was really good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a fig bar or whatever. It's like a fig Newton, but it's like better.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I know. I'm Jenna. Setting the scene. These are the people in the scene. Where are the characters? So they are on the beach. By the sea. What on the beach by the sea. I guess I didn't really need to say that.
Maybe we need a scene like with them together or something that's like no peril.
You know what? Okay, so here's what would happen in a real movie, I think.
They'd have like a scene where they were at a barbecue or a party together.
No,
So you get to know them.
I mean, maybe you would have that at the beginning, but what I was just thinking here is that, so they run up to Jenna, they're like, hey, you have to help us with this. There's a crazy new life form. She's like, you guys are gross, but okay, I see what you're saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they would have a scene where they were driving to the beach, and they would all have a conversation. I think in any regular movie, they'd have a conversation, sort of develop their relationships to each other, right?
Uh-huh.
And then they'd arrive at the beach, and it would set this scene that I'm about to do up. But I think in most movies they would have a scene. I'm going to just write that here, is that I think it feels like there would be a scene here.
And we'd get to know them.
Where they drove to the beach. And had a conversation.
And if you're a solo player, if you're playing this solo, how do you get to know these characters that you are creating? Like it's a discovery.
Like it's a discovery. And you would find it out through the conversation. I think this is the part right here. So I think what I'm missing here, and maybe what I was even missing earlier, here was in the first scene, there was another part, let's go back and look for a second, where also I feel like they would have been having a conversation. Let's see if it's in the same place. So it'd be decision, go back and get equipment, and try to get Jenna, Bobby's crush, involved to go find the new organism. So in order to set up their relationship beforehand, they would have had a scene where they were walking to go get her. Or they would have had a conversation at the very beginning as they were walking along. In fact, right here is where they would have a conversation. Right? At the very beginning. I'm not even sure where I would put that.
You know, I guess the question of where it is, there's probably multiple places we could put that conversation.
But you know that in the movie it would be there. Like, they would be talking about something as they were walking along the beach at first. Like, setting in the scene, like, the starfish, you know.
Right, okay, so we already have a scene in which they're interacting over the jellyfish.
Mm-hmm.
How about just, like, being able to expand that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Somewhere in here.
Include, more personality, as opposed to adding another scene.
Expanding what's there, like, in here, like, walking along the beach at sunset, this would be where you'd put the conversation.
Yeah. We have to have some mechanism for creating dialogue.
Maybe here the conversation will be here in this phase. I'm just going to write that as a little note here. Because I want to make sure that, like, I can understand it. Okay, so those are the two places where I feel like there would have been a conversation. All right, scene 3. So they're on the beach by the sea. What are the characters doing? Marveling at the new island just offshore. And wondering where it came from. Yeah?
Right.
That's what they're doing. And 4, where is the monster? Slumbering.
Just offshore.
Just offshore.
Looking like an island.
Thank you. Like an island. Alright, so there we go. That's setting the scene for this scene. Alright, setting the scene. Now the goal of the scene. The goal for these guys is to find the new life form. Right? Which is kind of funny. Alright. They're looking for the new life form. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like Star Trek.
It does sound like Star Trek. Alright, their plan. I think their plan would be to go out to the island. Right?
Yeah.
To
Obviously,
row
they have to go out to the island.
To the island and see what the hell.
Mm-hmm. Take some pictures. Go out to the island, walk around, take some pictures, see what they can find.
Walk around and look for clues.
See if they can figure out where the hell this island comes from.
For clues and pictures. Yeah, that's exactly right. See, so for you even, this is easy to envision.
Maybe even what's-his-face is thinking he can make a move out there.
Yeah, Bobby even might think he can. Yeah, in his plan to route to the island, look for clues and pictures. And I guess here's where there could be a part here where motivations for each character, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna make this trek out to the island and it's some sort of risk involved for them to do this, and effort, then yeah, they're gonna have a motivation for it.
Well, I'm saying add that to the maybe to the game somewhere. I'm gonna have to add that. All right, so for now, that's not necessarily even in the game, but it kind of needs to be. Mm-hmm. Oops, that's still yellow. All right, we better turn it back. All right. Well, that's interesting. So that feels like it. So their plan. Oh wait, there's only one part of the plan thing. There's no two. And now the obstacle to their plan. So weirdly, I think like halfway out there, the island begins to move.
I think as the island begins to move, it seems like there would be like big waves coming up.
Yeah, have it. I mean, it rises,
tossed around or whatever.
Surface, creating huge waves.
Mm-hmm. And pushing them further from the island,
pushing them back to shore. Maybe I want the tentacles aren't even coming to the surface yet. This would be the island begins to move, creating huge waves. This is sort of the monster attack. Yeah, that makes sense to me. All right, that's the obstacle, and now success. What would it look like? Like, I don't know if they just want to get to the island. They let me think. They kind of want to be able to. Maybe they do get to the island, but then if they get to the island, then they're doomed. Kind of. They ride the waves back to the beach or whatever.
Yeah, I think they can't get to the island.
Yeah, they can't get to the island. They ride the waves back to the beach safely.
Because that would be monster confrontation, and we're not at that scene yet.
And live to tell the tale. Yeah, okay, so that would bring, once again, 1 hero dice. All right, let's see what failure would bring. Failure. So I'm guessing that someone's in peril. I would guess if the boat becomes overturned. And they are washed back up on the beach.
Yeah, but probably losing some hero dice.
Soaking wet.
Chuck is going to lose some...
There's going to be somebody in peril. Someone's going to be in peril. I think Chuck is going to be in peril. Faces peril 1. So he could end up being not coming back from this one.
And Chuck's the sidekick?
Yeah, he's a sidekick, right. So I'm going to put the sidekick in danger.
Okay.
So that was success. That's failure, peril, and then resolve. All right, so here we go. So now we got this. It's like 1 to 3. They ride the wave back to the beach. Oh, this has to be a 2. Oh my God, what have I done? Yeah. There we go. All right, we go 1 to 3. Success. They ride the waves back to the beach and live to tell the tale. Otherwise, Chuck's gonna face in peril. This boat's gonna get smashed. Oops, dropped it on the ground. Let's try again. That didn't work out at all.
You're getting too excited about this.
I am getting excited. I'm just rolling it off the table. At 3, he succeeds again.
Woo! Good job.
He succeeded once again every time. Okay. I have thoughts here.
I guess. I mean, he succeeded at
Yeah.
the thing.
Maybe have success or failure tokens.
Yeah, I want to get something if I succeed, you know?
You know, and that maybe it makes it
Hero
harder.
dice, I'm not feeling it because you're the one rolling
That
them.
affect the dice roll. Yeah, maybe the more you succeed, the harder each successive success is, and the more you fail. You know, so you don't go too far, but I don't want you to just succeed every time. Like, there should really be a pushback.
Yeah.
If you've succeeded, like, once again, like here, 3 times in a row.
Right, that does get boring.
Yeah, it's
That's
not good.
Too much success. We want more failure.
Yeah. Anyway,
And not only that, here's the thing we got pushed back to shore by the monster, you know, but that was actually like a blessing in disguise.
Right.
Our heroes didn't know about it, even though it kept them from getting there.
Well, he succeeded because he just, succeeded, I suppose.
Right.
Let's see, what's the next thing here?
It's kind of maybe what they do in the face of danger or how they get out of it that makes us like
Yeah, the reaction here to the danger.
You know, the fact that like Chuck is just he succeeds, I guess, doesn't make me feel anything for him. If he struggles to the surface, you know, choking and like we think he's drowned, but then he, you know, swims to shore and
he pulls back
himself
Jenna
up,
or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a way we could bond with Chuck over this peril.
Yeah.
Because if we don't bond with him fast, he's going to be dead and we won't even care.
Well, it's already too late, I think, to bond with Chuck.
Right.
Oh, this isn't Chuck. This is Bobby, the wildlife, the biologist.
Okay.
And that's not really coming into play
Chuck
enough
was a
either.
sidekick that was just in peril.
Yeah, he was. Oh, I see what
what
you're
it's
saying. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we have to bond with these people quickly because they might just die.
Yeah, all right.
And
They
we need
stare.
to feel something if they die, not just be like, oh, who was that?
Let's see, as the island, yeah, all right. So the reaction is they stare in amazement as the island rises from the water. Yeah, no, I know. I don't know what to do about that. We're going to have to definitely read some stuff about characters now.
I'm curious.
The water and reveals itself as a giant creature. The reaction. Let's see, like maybe Jenna tries to photograph it, but the camera is soaked. Right? So that's almost going into like her motivations and stuff too. So maybe I need a more character-centered approach to this entire thing. Like it needs to be less story-centered and more character-centered. I'm gonna write that as a note anyway. We'll see if that maybe helps. All right, that's the reaction. Decision. All right, so the reaction and decision. Formulate the next goal. All right, run back to the base and get more equipment. All decide. All right. There we go. That's the first 3 scenes right there. So yeah, okay. I mean, the game flows along. Like, I'm feeling like it works, but it sort of doesn't. It's not character driven. I think that is the big problem. I think I'm probably going to have to redo the whole thing. Although this is a good structure for story structure. I guess you need a story structure too. So it's not bad to have this necessarily. But also at the same time, I feel like it's just an exercise in sort of making a, like screenplay or whatever maybe, right? And that's fine. I mean, like if I were to turn this into possibly like a story, I think I could. I could just, create this and then just fill it out in here. You know what I mean? It would be a story pretty quickly. But also maybe not because the characters aren't really real yet. So maybe it wouldn't be.
One of the things in Vampire that you do, and I'm reading this article, I'm just kind of like browsing through stuff online too about character stuff as we're talking.
Yeah, okay.
Nothing like major yet, but I was thinking about like Vampire, and one of the things that we did for character creation was to come up with a mark. Something that was with us permanently that would identify us.
Right.
Always physically on our body and the story of how it got there.
So we almost need, like, in the same way that like Cobra Kai, the guy just straight up called people by their most like obvious physical trait.
Yeah.
An obvious physical trait. Maybe, huh?
Yeah.
For the characters. Like the thing you notice first about, like you will notice something first about somebody. Like you will call someone like in your head like Big Nose or whatever if they have a big nose. or larger than average nose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever ears, or
Floppy ears.
or like brace face,
Koa
or
fluffy belly.
fluffy belly. Like there is a certain thing that you like think about somebody, and you're like, oh, that's the thing. But it's sort of relative.
Sometimes it depends. It depends, but it's not always a look thing. Like the guy that goes out running around here, the wrist flopper.
Yeah, he's the it's a behavioral.
Yeah, it's behavioral.
Nickname.
He's a wrist flopper.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like there's something there. Maybe that'll help a little bit.
That kind of like immediately gives you the idea of who they are more than like what their dreams in life are, because that just seems so vague. Weirdly, everybody wants to just like be happy and like
Right, but I mean, still, I think they need
find
motivation
love
though.
and all that, right? But I think their motivation is too not enough for some reason. I'm not quite sure why.
Yeah, I hear you. It's not. No, I mean, obviously the characters are totally flat, and that's the big thing we have to figure out. Before, I'd say probably before I. Well, there's still a lot of stuff I can work on here, but I think before I do any more of this, I think I need to figure out that character thing a little bit. I'll probably look at
They're
some
saying
stuff.
that your character, in order to be somebody that people relate to, needs to have a vulnerability, needs to have a flaw. We need to know a flaw.
Oh yeah, okay. Flaw.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an important part of the character you're saying.
Without it should be like a forgivable, redeemable flaw in our eyes, but like without a flaw, they're not going to be human to us.
Like we're not going to make our character like a puppy kicker. Because that's not really necessarily redeemable. Well, maybe.
Well, I mean, I guess if it was JoJo, we might make him a puppy kicker. But
Yeah, right. Okay, I got you. The flaw would be more like, alcoholism or...
I guess it depends on the tone of the story, right? The flaws, the types of flaws that our characters have are also going to,
Maybe he's like, and the flaw, I guess, drives it forward. I hadn't really thought about that, but if our character was like, a coward or whatever, he's scared or timid.
Right.
It would be like a character arc for him to sort of like be timid and then finally maybe overcome it.
Right.
For the final thing.
Exactly.
It's not fun if he's just
I think the flaw is good, actually, now that I read that now and thinking about it. I see maybe how important it is.
Yeah, same.
Everybody's got to have a flaw because it's kind of a defining trait that, like, maybe even endears you to them because now they're dealing with this and overcoming it despite being a coward,
Yeah, somehow they've overcome their issue or made it work for them somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe they found a situation where running away was actually the right thing to do,
Mm-hmm.
And they use their cowardice to their advantage. Some way that they develop through their flaw or like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So yeah, I think every character just very simply at their very base just has to be, they have to have a flaw. At least we know that that's one piece of the puzzle. I think anyway. Just
I do too.
Like, oh my god, how could they not have a flaw?
Kind of like the game we're playing. We've been playing like Darkest Dungeon, and
oh yeah,
they each have some problem, and it is kind of interesting. It does make them have a personality because actually that guy,
kill that guy and get rid of his kleptomania.
Yeah, he just steals stuff from us. It's true, and it did, and even that, and it kind of works in combination because he has this flaw.
He's a character for me now.
Yeah, and his job is like as a paladin, so it's kind of interesting that he's like this noble, heroic knight that steals shit, which makes
the paladin.
Right, and that's a way more interesting character than just a heroic noble knight.
Yeah, he's a heroic noble knight that also has kleptomania. And
he can't help himself from stealing.
Yeah.
Like he even maybe feels bad about it.
Right.
But it's too bad,
that
right?
makes them real. Okay, so there we go. At least one piece of character development we know we need a flaw.
Yeah, and we'll look more into that too.
Simple, single piece, as opposed to having to develop all this dialogue and backstory and everything.
But we still, the real problem and the thing I still want to deal with is that it isn't really yet, and it's hard to have conversations in a solo game. And I think that is going to make it real. Maybe not. Maybe having the flaw and...
Maybe the flaw is enough in a solo game that you don't need the conversations.
Maybe you already know the conversations, but you
Right.
don't have to have the conversations.
Yeah.
You can just say what the conversations are about, maybe, as long as you have your flaw. Like maybe people confront the kleptomaniac. You know, you don't have to actually write dialogue for
It
that.
depends on their flaw. Maybe if they're, a coward, they won't confront the kleptomaniac.
As he just continually steals from him. That's interesting too.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe he finally gets fed up at the end, maybe in a key moment, and it
Right.
affects the outcome, you know?
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing you want those flaws to do something. That set the story going a little bit.
Stress, pressure being a driving force, some sort of driving pressure. That's something the game doesn't have really. We've got to be driving people to the monster confrontation.
Yeah, the player doesn't feel any pressure.
Right.
Pressure or stakes for the characters, sort of.
Right.
I don't know how to say that
The
better.
only thing that's been happening is giving and taking away of hero dice, and we don't even see that on the screen. Like, you're rolling these dice, so there's not any sort of reward sensation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when we succeed, when our hero succeeds, we need to get a reward sensation.
Yeah, you get the die. I guess I do, but I mean, even that's not really that great necessarily. Maybe it needs to be more. Yeah, okay, I'll think about that too. Yeah, there's no like dopamine reward.
Right. And I think with success, we need to get a dopamine reward.
Yeah.
I think with failure, we need to get a dopamine reward too.
Yeah, the game should be giving you like good feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Like playing it, otherwise why are you even going to play it? But that's what I'm wondering, like, do computer games at this point, are they just superior to providing dopamine or whatever? Is there any way you could even compete with a tabletop RPG?
Just socially. Tabletop is going to be able to compete socially.
So maybe making a solo RPG is just silly. Maybe I should just turn this
I
into
think people that play solo RPGs are probably looking for. I mean, they're people that aren't playing computer games.
Maybe they don't like to.
Yeah.
Maybe they want to maybe they work at, like my brother, work at a computer, doesn't necessarily want to go home and play a computer game.
Yeah, I think plenty of people like journaling games or.
Yeah, okay. So there is still a thing maybe
Yeah,
for that.
yeah.
It'll be tough to do. If I could actually do this, though, this will be kind of interesting. I think it
But
could.
that's not how we're going to be playing it. So I guess my only concern is why focus so much on the way that we're not playing it. I guess we're playing it more as a. Well, maybe you are.
Yeah,
though.
no, I'm
You
playing
are.
it solo. Yeah, I really am playing it that way. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I will find a way where it's fun to do and actually produces the kind of thing I want. It's just.
But it's got to be fun for both.
It's got to be fun if we decide to play it together, too. Yeah. No, I agree.
I will say that's one of the things about this game that I've liked, though, is that I can come take part in a scene or participate, but I don't need to be there.
Yeah, it's another one.
So, and it's fun when I'm here and I think about it and I step in for a minute, but it's, it allows me to do that.
The other
And I think
option
we
here.
designed it that way because we want people on stream to be able to
Yeah.
do this whenever they can and not have to worry about save states and things like that. It's just a continual.
Here's the other one. I'm going to maybe make it way shorter like microfiction and more about making a monster. Just an idea I had earlier, I just remembered. Like maybe even make it just way less stuff you do. Yeah, it's wild out there, huh? I'm starting to get kind of hungry. You might have to make more food.
There's food now.
Yeah, there is food. I don't think anybody's here right now. All right, let's go. Let's go for today. I'm gonna look up way more stuff probably after I have some lunch about
I think the flaws thing is a
character
good place
development.
to start.
I think the
And,
flaws thing's a great place
let's do
to
some
start.
character development research.
Yeah, because it needs to have something else. I need to really, like, I see where this is going. I have to decide if I'm going to continue down this route. I like learning about story structure. That's cool. I'm not sure that the player themselves are going to end up in the end making the story structure. Like maybe there's a predetermined story structure of some kind. And I've thought about that before too, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh,
Huh?
have you said hi to
I don't see anything.
There's people are chatting.
Oh, really? Sorry, guys. I didn't see any comment. Maybe... Oh, I hate it when that happens. I wonder why it says live chat, but it doesn't show anything. Here, I'll go back. Anyway, sorry, guys. All right, let's see if I go there. That's weird. That's happened a couple times. Have you noticed that? All right, I'm going to close this and reopen it. You know, here's the deal. I started... How do I get there? I can't even get to the thing anymore. Oh no. I'm going to close everything. Sorry guys, I'll see if I can see chat. Okay. Oh. Hey Bowman. Anyway, sorry for not seeing you guys. Anyway. Yeah, there it is. There's everybody on there. Hi. Thanks for stopping by. What a jerk. I didn't say anything. Yeah.
What was it? Roll 1 for friend zone.
Yeah, right. Anyway. I'll have to maybe write to you guys if you're already gone, which I can sort of see you. That's so funny. I was like, the whole time I was like, oh.
They must, I'm sure they'd realize that, like, there's...
No, they're all gone now.
No, I know.
I think they disappeared. All right, maybe I'll write in chat. Sorry, guys. Anyway, wow, that's weird. That happened again. Okay, so you know what, Loren? Once in a while, we're going to have to check that. I thought I was okay, but I don't know how I would have known. Because it said I was at live chat and just nobody showed up. Anyway, sorry, guys. Anyway, goodbye. Until next time, everybody. Wow.